Deep Water book Flamingo. In this story, we will know about the fact that childhood fears must never be treated lightly. If they are not tackled, then they make deep inroads into one's psychology. The protagonist of this story, Douglas, analyzes his fear and finally determines to overcome it. So, about the author, William Douglas, 1898-1980, was born in Maine, Minnesota. After graduating with a Bachelor's of Arts in English and Economics, he spent 2 years teaching high school in Yakima. However, he got tired of this and decided to pursue a legal degree. He met Franklin D. Roosevelt at Yale and became an advisor and friend to the president. Douglas was a leading advocate of individual rights. He retired in 1975 with a term lasting 36 years and remains the longest serving justice in the history of the court. The following excerpt is taken from Of Men and Mountains by William O. Douglas. So that means we can understand that this is an autobiography. It reveals how, as a young boy, William Douglas nearly drowned in a swimming pool. In this essay, he talks about his fear of water and thereafter how he finally overcame it. Notice how the autobiographical part of the selection is used to support his discussion of fear. So, reading. It had happened when I was 10 or 11 years old. I had decided to learn to swim. There was a pool at the YMCA in Yakima that offered exactly the opportunity. The Yakima River was treacherous. Mother continually warned against it and kept fresh in my mind the details of each drowning in the river, but the YMCA pool was safe. It was only 2 to 3 feet deep at the shallow end, and while it was 9 feet deep at the other, the drop was gradual. I got a pair of water wings and went to the pool. I hated to walk. That means the author Douglas, he was taken with his parents to YMCA pool to learn swimming, which was not too deep. Naked, so page number 25, naked into it and show my skinny legs, but I subdue my pride and did it. So that means, so the author says that he was very much skinny. So he was feeling shy, to show his skinny legs. And here in page number 24, you can see Yakima River. And here all the it is given in the map that you can understand Yakima, where it is Yakima River and other positions in page number 24. So page number 25. From the beginning, however, I had an aversion to the water when I was in it. This started when I was 3 or 4 years old and father took me to the beach in California. He and I stood together in the surf. I hung on to him, yet the waves knocked me down and swept over me. I was buried in water. My breath was gone. I was frightened. Father laughed, but there was terror in my heart at the overpowering force of the waves. So, as he was young, he was threatened, he was frightened, as continuously the surf was coming when he was taken for the first time at the beach in California, not in YMCA. His first experience, he was threatened. But when he came to the swimming pool where he had his trainer and his parents were there, so he was confident because the water was not that deep. My introduction to the YMCA swimming pool revived unpleasant memories and stirred childish fears, but in a little while I gathered confidence. I paddled with my new water wings, watching the other boys and trying to learn by aping them. I did this 2 or 3 times on different days and was just beginning to feel at ease to feel at ease in the water when the misadventure happened. So he was getting comfortable with the water because it was not that deep and he had his trainer. So he was getting his confidence. I went to the pool when no one else was there. So one day, what happened? The place was quiet, the water was still, and the tile bottom was as white and clean as a bathtub. I was timid about going in alone, so I sat on the side of the pool to wait for others. So he decided to wait for others because, as you know, still he was scared of water. That's why. I had not been there long when it came a big bruiser of a boy, probably 18 years old. He had thick hair on his chest. He was a beautiful physical specimen with legs and arms that showed rippling muscles. He yelled, "Hi, skinny. How would you like to be ducked?" With that, he picked me up and tossed me into the deep, and I landed in a sitting position, swallowed water, and went at once to the bottom. I was frightened, but not yet frightened out of my wits. On the way down, I planned when my feet hit the bottom, I would make a big jump, come to the surface, lie flat on it, and paddle to the edge of the pool. So then he decided that when that big boy tossed him into the water, threw him into the water, he decided that when his feet would touch the bottom, the tile bottom, he would make a high jump from there so that he can come out of the water. It seemed a long way down. Those 9 feet were more like 90, and before I touched bottom, my lungs were ready to burst. But when my feet hit bottom, I summoned all my strength and made what I thought was a great spring upwards. I imagined I would bob to the surface like a cock. So he thought that if he make a big jump, he would definitely come out of the water, but it did not happen. Instead, I came up slowly. I opened my eyes and saw nothing but water. Water that had a dirty yellow tinge to it. I grew panicky. I reached up as if to grab a rope, and my hands clutched only at water. I was suffocating. I tried to yell, but no sound came out. Then my eyes and nose came out of the water, but not my mouth. So at his first attempt, only what came out? His eyes and nose came out, and not his mouth. I frail at the surface of the water, swallowed and choked. I tried to bring my legs up, but they hung as dead weights, paralyzed and rigid. A great force was pulling me under. So this is the second time. I screamed, but only the water heard me. I had started on the long journey back to the bottom of the pool. So he was going down again. I struck at the water as I went down, expending my strength as one in a nightmare fights and irresistible force. I had lost all my breath. My lungs ached. My heart throbbed. I was getting dizzy, but I remembered the strategy. What strategy? I would spring from the bottom of the pool and come like a cock to the surface. I would lie flat on the water, strike out with my arms. So that was his planning. And thrash with my legs. Then I would get to the edge of the pool and be safe. So what he did, the same thing happened. I went down endlessly. I opened my eyes. Nothing but water with a yellow glow. Dark water that one could not see through. That means his second attempt was also a failure. He failed in his second attempt also. And then sheer, stark terror seized me, terror that knows no understanding. Now he was terrorized. Terror that knows no control, terror that no one can understand who has not experienced it. I was shrieking underwater. I was paralyzed underwater, stiff, rigid with fear. Even the screams in my throat were frozen, so he could not shout even. Only my heart and the pounding in my head said that I was still alive. And then, in the midst of the terror, came a touch of reason. I must remember to jump When I hit the bottom at the last, I felt the tiles under me. So the second time when he could feel the tiles when he was going down, my toes reached out as if to grab them. I jumped with everything I had. But the jump made no difference. The water was still around me. I looked for ropes, ladders, water wings, nothing but water. So he found nothing, only water, water. A mass of yellow water held me, stark terror took an even deeper hold on me like a greater charge of electricity. I shook and trembled with fright. My arms wouldn't move, my legs wouldn't move. I tried to call for help, to call for mother. Nothing happened. Page number 27. And then, strangely, there was light. I was coming out of the awful yellow water. At least my eyes were. My nose was almost out too. So, in his second attempt, what came? Eyes came and nose came, and nothing. Then I started down a third time. I sucked for air and got water. He wanted to get air, but he got water. The yellowish light was going out. Then all effort ceased. I relaxed. Even my legs felt limp, and a blackness swept over my brain. It wiped out fear. It wiped out terror. There was no more panic. It was quiet and peaceful. Why? He was not at all panicked. He was not at all terrorized in the third time when he was going down, because he had accepted his death. He accepted his failure. Nothing to be afraid of. This is nice, to be drowsy, to go to sleep. No need to jump. Too tired to jump. It's nice to be carried gently, to float along in space. Tender arms around me, tender arms like mother's. Now I must go to sleep. This sleep is death. I crossed the oblivion and the curtain of life fell. The next I remember, I was lying on my stomach beside the pool, vomiting. The chap that threw me in was saying, "But I was only fooling." Someone said, "The kid nearly died. Be all right now. Let's carry him to the locker room." So, when he had accepted his death, and then what we are seeing, that he was saved. Somebody took him out, he vomited, and the boy who had tossed him into the water was saying that he was only joking with him. That statement the boy made for Douglas. Now we'll see how he will overcome his fear of water.